Hi, 6th and 7th graders. This is Mrs. Burns. This is step 2 for your watercolor grid design. You should have your watercolor paper gridded off 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. There should be 5 by 4 squares. So 5 squares across, 4 squares down. So 20 squares altogether. And then your picture should be gridded off as well, 2 inches by 2 inches, and again 5 across, 4 down, so they should match. This is just going to be a little bit bigger than this. If you have not cut, I'll set this up, I already cut it, but if you haven't cut the extra stuff off of your picture, if it doesn't bug you, don't bother cutting it, but I don't know, it's just kind of nice to get that off. You can just use the scissors and cut that off just to have, yeah, you can concentrate on one square at a time. So with this project, I'm kind of building off of what we've done in the past, most of you. Some of you are new this year, so hopefully this isn't too confusing or too much, but in the past, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we did a watercolor, or I'm sorry, a 4 seasons grid painting. And so you had a little tree and you gridded your paper, but the tree was already gridded for you, and you matched each square to make this tree. So kind of similar, you've done this, but this time, because you are older, I had you grid your own paper instead of me giving you a gridded one. And then if you had art with me last year, which most of you have as well, we did a self-portrait, a contour line self-portrait. So contour line is basically an outline. So if you remember last year, I took a picture of you and then we cut your face in half, and we had half of your face, the picture on there, and then we drew, you drew the other half using just contour line, very basic, and then we painted in the background. So here's an example, and this is what I'm looking for, just a contour drawing of your subject matter. So most of you did animals, pets, or favorite animal. There's some flowers, there's Grover, and there's some candle. So good choices. This is going to be just about the subject matter and just making an outline drawing of it. We're not going to spend too much time drawing. I want to really get into the watercolor. So, but drawing is very important. So with this design right here, I just did my son Ollie. I didn't really concentrate so much on the background, and I didn't concentrate on the design on his t-shirt. It's just, I'm keeping it basic for you. It would be really cool if I did the background, but again, what this project is going to be solely concentrating on is more the watercolor, exploring with different watercolor techniques. So keep it basic. If you want to spend some extra time and add some more detail, cool. Great. Keep it contour. Don't do any type of shading at all. We'll save this for the watercolors. But yeah, just a straight up outline. I went ahead, just to help kind of break down shapes, I went ahead and took a marker and I outlined around my son's body and certain areas. I can show you, I also did it here. So with my dog Gus, I demonstrated it, but I didn't like how the video turned out, so I already did the demonstration. But yep, just going around and breaking down and just looking at those basic shapes. That's just it's a good thing to have ready so that you can take those shapes and bring it over to here, to your final. So do this first, don't spend too much time on it, just, yeah, and then you're gonna go ahead and get started. So, what I usually do is I start up here and just match. I'm not going to spend much time on the grass. I might come back and add a couple lines, but now I'll just save this for watercolor. So I'm going to move on to this next square. And all that is in this square of my subject matter is part of Gus's ear. So let me zoom in. I do not plan to do the whole drawing for you to watch. I am just going to get started, and just so you get the idea of what you need to do, and then I'm going to have you get started. So I'm going to start with his ear, and when I look at this square and this square, they're really not much different in size. So when I'm looking at these two pieces of paper, you know, this is just a little bit smaller. So Gus is going to be, you know, it's going to be the same in proportion, but this would be a little bit bigger, just a little bit bigger. I have to keep telling my mind that because I want to draw him really big, but oops, it's not going to be like that. So when you're looking at his ear or placements of your animal or your subject matter, excuse me. So here's about the center of the square where I'm pointing, and then if I look at the center of this square, it's about right here. So then I'm going to move down a little lower, and I think I'll just mark it. Okay, and I can see right here, that's where I'm going to start his ear. And then if I go down to here where his ear leaves the square, again, I look for the center, and then I just move over a little bit. And then I just look at that shape. It's a diagonal line going, and then it goes pretty much vertical down. So a diagonal line going across. Draw lightly in case you make that mistakes. Easy to erase. And then you go down. Okay. I'm going to keep working my way across. So looking at the top of Gus's head, there's kind of some fluff going on, and then his other part of his ear continued. About right here is when the ear leaves the square, so I kind of have to connect the dots in that way. This moves up and then slants a little bit over. I'm going to come back over here and try to meet in the middle. That'll work for now. You can always come back and tweak it. So that's the top of his head. I have nothing else in these squares. I'm not going to bother with the grass again. So I'm going to move down to nothing here. I'm going to move down to this square. So in this square, I see the tip of his ear and then the side of his face. I'm just going to concentrate on the outline of his whole body, and then I'll go back and add the detail. So looking at where his ear ends, I'd say about right here. So kind of having that little, I don't know, yeah, about right over here where I'm going. And then looking over here, and you know, always tracing over this to kind of get the feel of that movement, that line. Helps a little bit sometimes. And then, before I even get down all the way, I want to just see where, yeah, it's about right in the middle where he leaves. So I kind of have to stretch this out a little bit more. So he actually goes out a little bit more with his fur. Furry little guy. Okay. I'm going to mark his nose because that's kind of a defining feature. You want to kind of find that placement. So his nose starts about a little lower than halfway in the square. So you can see some of it, and just breaking it down like that shape of that nose. can even use my pencil to kind of get the feel of it. Cuts into this square a little bit. That's all I'm gonna do. Just gonna leave that and I'll come back to it. Okay, could also do the eyes too, actually. That might be eyes and nose. Just kind of give you that idea of placement. Looking at where his eye is in the square. So you get the idea. I think you all know what you need to do. Let me just finish this square and then I'll have you go ahead and get started. If you have questions, of course, let me know. If you have something that happened that you need me to check on, just let me know. We'll figure it out. Today is just drawing. I don't know if we're gonna get done or not. So we'll see. So it might take us 1 or 2 class periods to draw. We'll see. So I'm going to have you go ahead and get started. If you have any questions after you watch this video, let me know. Okay. Hopefully I didn't cut it short too much, but you get the idea, I think. So just, yeah, have fun with it.